Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DBR on CBR. That's right, it is time once again for your favorite time of the week and mine, Dragon Ball Rewatch. And we hope you continue to watch along with us on Hulu and or Crunchyroll. And we hope you are reading along with us in the Viz Media translation of the manga. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Episode 37. Ninja Murasaki is coming, which is phrased like a threat. Japan got this on November 5th, 1986. Americans, February 21st, 2002, adapting two chapters, one with the great name, Purple People Beater, because all kids like novelty singles from the 1960s, and the 4.5 tatami mat flip. But we don't get very much of that again. It's another one where we do like the first four panels at the very end of the episode.
I'm like pretty sure that I used to bartend at a bar called Purple People Beater.
I should have think what that bar was like. This episode is, let's just get out of the way. This episode's odd. Like,
it's weird.
This is another episode where I go back and I do not remember this episode, and I kind of understand probably why.
I'm not the biggest Murasaki fan. Big love to Funimation et al, but the accent they maybe choose to put on him is maybe the one of the worst voice acting choices for Dragon Ball.
I don't even know what that accent's supposed to be. Like, it's so
Indeterminate
weirdly
East
aggressive.
Asian.
I guess.
I hate to say it, but it's racist uncle. Like, it's like it feels like sort of a European racist uncle at dinner party trying to insult the new neighbors.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got that whole thing. It's very odd, and the characters just are. Even in Japan, I guess the characters funnier in Japan because they have more of a cultural thing of sort of the ninja as a figure and using them as a clown. But it just after that last fight where they drew blood on Goku last fight, and now we're going to vaudeville.
Yeah, it's an odd. I was talking about how much I appreciated the Major Metallotron fight, and I think a lot of that appreciation comes from like all the other fights in Muscle Tower, starting with this one, where it's just like, oh, okay, well, and this is one of those moments where you remember that like Dragon Ball kind of started as a more of a gag manga, with fantasy overtones before it became the martial arts epic that it really is known for, and sci-fi epic that it's known for. And so yeah, this is a hard tonal shift, to go from a fight against the Terminator to the slapstick Ninja Man for like multiple episodes.
It feels like a Looney Tunes episode in a very weird, like the rhythm of it is very Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's also weird because in this episode we kind of just have Goku's motivation goes. Like Goku went from the last episode of going, I will save the chief, messing around. Like he's a kid and he's unfocused. And I've said that and I like it when he's like that, but here he is too unfocused. And
he's literally playing hide and seek with Ninja Murasaki.
And his focus on that, like, it doesn't seem to be like any logic behind it. What really bugs me is when he's searching the house, you can see the stairs behind him.
Yeah.
This whole thing could have been fixed if they had just said, like, there's a door and he has a key. Like, actually like a video game. Like, you have to kill the guy on the floor to get his key to open the door up. But here, Goku could just literally go, no, I reject your premise. I'm going. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Later, haters.
I will say, I mean, with this episode, we have officially gone through volume 5 of the manga into volume 6. So, I get to hold up a new book at the start of the next several.
Very nice.
I always like the volume 6 cover as well. One of my favorites.
It is a nice cover.
That's a good one.
I mean, there is some actually kind of funny stuff going on here, like when Goku with the counting thing. I think that's actually a pretty good gag. Like they do set up some good gags, but I feel like it takes away from like the overarching story is Goku's trying to save this dude from getting killed. Like somebody's about to die, and Goku is learning to count from this ninja and perforating his colon. So
Yeah, I'm also quite sad that the dub changed the counting joke.
Oh,
In Japan, Goku gets stuck on 18, not 25. 18 makes more sense because he learned 13 because he was doing that sort of 12, 13, 14 in the tournament. So now it's like, oh, in the time between, he's learned 2 more numbers.
yeah.
Like I think that's a funnier gag, and it calls back that earlier. It's like Goku is slowly learning how to count as we go forward. But having it be 25 is just a random number. It's like, yeah, that's less fun. Less funny.
Yeah.
Learn to count with Goku.
Another difference between the Japanese and the Funimation dub, um, the gag about Murasaki apparently hooking up with General White's sisters behind his back.
Yes, that I don't think that's a rare example of them making the joke, like trying a raunchy joke, infinitely worse. Because,
Yes.
like in the original, he's just carrying pornography, which is weird, but it's consensual. Here, it's like he brought his sisters in and then creep shotted them. Like, the. Also, it's even weirder because he White blushes after that.
Yes.
Like after Murasaki gets perforated and they pull like the pole out and White is like blushing. It's like there's something very strange happening with Murasaki. I just have like a headcanon that Murasaki just kind of like made his way through this family. Like that's just kind of what I think happened. And nobody knows how to deal with it. And now they work together and it's awkward.
Yuri on
Yeah.
stick.
It's kind of like a Saltburn situation, really, that he's kind of like been like manipulating the family the whole time.
It's so weird because Funimation are usually quite strict on what they will do, and they're just here. It's like we're just going to imply that he's a creep.
We're just going to make it worse, and it's so Murasaki. So Murasaki is in. I don't think interesting is not the right word, but it's the only one I can come up with. I like when we get introduced to him, he has like that like crazy ninja thing of like entering and exiting rooms. He's a very dramatic character. And like that's what I liked when we brought up like the vaudeville stuff. It does like and when like even I said like the Bugs Bunny stuff. This whole episode has the energy of a like an American cartoon from like the 60s. It's got a very weird callback in its energy, which I don't mind, but also just like the last episode felt kind of like it got directed by someone else. This one also has the same energy. It feels like it was directed by somebody else.
The other reason it feels like a cartoon from the 60s is they have running scenes where they keep reusing the same background.
Yeah,
this episode has
baby.
so much reused animation, which is fine. It's just in this context, they commit the cardinal sin. Reusing animation is good. You should do it whenever you can. Save money, save time. Be as lazy as humanly possible. But when I start being able to notice the reuse, like in the first watch, that's when you've gone a bit overboard. When I can go, oh, we're doing that again. Like that. No, I shouldn't be able to spot that on the first go around.
Yeah.
No.
Also, Murasaki gets the Fist of the North Star intro.
Yes,
he does.
That's a fun little reference because you also see Spade from Fist of the North Stars there. But General White's Japanese voice actor, Tenshiro Genda, voiced Spade in Fist of the North Star. So that's why you see him killing Spade, because that had already come out.
Yeah.
What's really funny is... Oh, go on.
Oh, no, does this imply that Murasaki is actually competent?
It is weird that intro does build him up to be a big thing, and then he immediately becomes a goofball.
Yeah.
It's also, I find it quite funny that Funimation added the "you're already dead" thing, so they doubled down on the reference, which is kind of a cute little detail for them.
Yeah, it is cute.
That intro is very, very odd because it's also added for the anime. Like, it's not in the manga.
It's certainly not in the manga.
It's a weird pacing beat that we have him being big and scary, but then we immediately kill his credibility like 10 seconds later. Like, a way to do this would be like sort of like the sort of Wizard of Oz. Like he builds himself up, and then at the end turns out, oh, he's actually this kind of weak little limp-wristed Nancy boy. That would work. But the fact is, we immediately do that, then we immediately undercut him with camp hijinks. It's like, then what was the point of all of this?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting what the manga or the anime adds to this chapter. We were talking about some of the weird flourishes in the previous episode. No intro, no dirty photos, no dirty magazines, and no snow, because we don't have to check in on snow again, but the anime is like, yes, we do.
Remember, she exists.
There is a girl in this arc. Here she is. Look at her.
Sunoa and her mother are the only people in this arc who are not being used for sort of lewd humor. Please enjoy them while you can.
Enjoy them while you can. It's so nice.
To Toriyama's credit, the guy who created Master Roshi, all those dirty jokes in this episode are not from him.
Again, yeah, this is. I said that this podcast has really come around on Roshi so much because when you compare it to stuff like this, like Roshi's good. He is set up as like the classic sort of Harlequin character. He gets his moment, but someone will always come and slap him around the back of the head when he's done. Here, they just have these kind of rapid fire jokes. There's no real weight to them, no real build or payoff. Like the dirty magazines is a good one. Like Goku searching around, pulls up the floor. There's a boing noise because this man insulates his house with dirty magazines. That is inefficient. Do not do that. Get insulation. It's cheaper and less perverted. Yeah. But that doesn't go anywhere. Like he's just a pervert. But we don't ever pay that off in any way because that's added for the anime. In the manga, Goku just immediately sees him in the lake, which is a funny joke. But we've ruin the impact of that joke by having this weird build up beforehand.
The whole see, in a weird way, I can kind of forgive a lot of the jokes if we're just like leaning into the campy, it's rabbit season, it's duck season vibe of the whole thing. But I always have to come back to the fact that there's a dude with a gun to his head, like a couple of floors up. Like that's what kind of kill. Like if we're gonna go with the comedy beats, sticking with those comedy beats is fine. But what Dragon Ball had been doing really well so far was balancing the comedy with the threat. Like the Emperor Pilaf stuff, there's so much really funny stuff going on there, but you never forget that he's kind of like I'm really stuck on Looney Tunes right now. He's kind of this like Marvin the Martian energy where he's funny, but he can blow up the planet and we're like, oh, and we know the stakes. Here, I feel like we're undercut. Every single member of the Red Ribbon Army gets undercut so quickly that you never get the chance to feel threatened by them.
Yeah, at least Colonel Silver gets his own moments. A lot of his incompetence is kind of projected on his men. You don't get that with Murasaki. You don't get that with most of these characters moving forward. Also, you mentioned the threat of it. That makes the callback to Sano all the more like puzzling because it's like, oh, this is remember the stakes, and it's like we remember the stakes. Goku apparently does.
Yeah, it's just this very odd thing to have, and I'm also realizing we're not seeing Red anymore, and that removes something as well because you would think by this point Red would be on someone about you've got him, kill him. He's got the Dragon Ball. Like we've forgotten that Goku is carrying the ball on him. Like, because immediately I thought, oh, we've got the ninja. Surely the thing's going to be like, oh, behind you, ball, run off. And we're going to do like a rugby thing. No, we've just ignored that. Like, it's so weird that all of the stakes this episode have just vanished. Overnight, effectively.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an odd one.
This is like even getting into Muscle Tower when like they're all shooting at Goku and like there's that build up to get him over the wall. Like, yeah, there is funny stuff in there, but you never forget that this is like a huge paramilitary group fighting this one 13-year-old kid. But now it's just we're gonna shove a stick up this dude's butt. And like again, it can work, but you gotta pick a lane sometimes, and I feel like this arc is not picking a lane.
Yeah. I think the ending obviously is the reference to what's the thing called? Japanese children do it. Kancho, which is you make a gun and you try and poke your friend in the reverse nether regions.
Kakashi does it.
Yes. So Goku moves the pole so he falls on it. Would be a really fun joke if it had come after him being, he was still this really serious ninja who was like, oh, I'm super cool. And that was his, he messed up and landed on the pole. That would be a brilliant moment for Goku. Because again, it would ram home why Goku is such a good fighter. Because you can't predict half the... So, I'm very sorry for FNAF. Just get my Groucho Marx cigar out. But it would work. Again, why Goku's so hard to defeat is because he is a kid who is super strong but has no idea what he's doing and is running around like a lunatic. But that joke loses its thing when you do it after he's already been silly, and then have him hopping around with it in his bum for the next 3 to 4 minutes. That, like I said, yes, I understand. Hardy, hardy, ha. Stick goes in bum that does comedy.
Yeah.
Thus comedy.
That moment and Goku stepping on the spikes are like some of the weirdest like facial animation I think I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. Like the Goku's facial change when he steps on it, he basically turns into a SpongeBob character for like 2 seconds, and then like with that reaction before returning to normal. They're just the little weird slapsticky animation
Bit of
moments.
the Shin-chan about it.
Yeah,
To be fair,
it does have a
with
bit
me
of the
thinking of the
Shin-chan
butt jokes because Shin-chan is 90%. It's also funny that we just brush over the fact that Goku tries to murder him by pouring boiling water down a reed directly into his mouth.
Yes.
Which is like the most horrific thing you can think of. But again, it's funny because it's Goku and it totally makes sense that he'd go, oh, look, there's a hole. I'm going to pour water in it.
So, okay, this is one of my biggest anime pet peeves in general because it keeps being a shonen anime thing. There, you have a villain with an open mouth, and then you do something to them temperature-wise, and they survive. It happens so much in My Hero Academia that I'm starting to think that we're just pretending that Todoroki doesn't have a body count. Like, when you're shoving your fist down a dude's mouth and making an icicle explode out of it, that dude is dead. I don't care. This dude absolutely should be dead. This is one of those things about shonen anime in particular that bothers me. Open mouth means more access to the soft, squishy bits on the inside.
Goku gets to all the soft, squishy bits in this episode.
Both entrances.
Also, just sorry, talk out these jokes. The weird continuity of the running section with the caltrops, where apparently Ninja Guy just stops. He's like a chasing PT. If you're not moving, he's not moving. He just stops and waits for Goku to go back, get the shoes, and run along. It's like it's another that really bugged me because I think honestly now I'm thinking that would be my example of what the problem with this episode is. There was a really good joke there of him sort of going away after the caltrops, going, "Ha ha! I beat him." Just for Goku to sort of slowly gain on him with the shoes. But they don't do that. They show us Goku go get them and then show him running again. So, well, you've ruined the joke. And you've also undercut the effect of the caltrops because it just makes him look silly for doing it now.
Yeah. And the manga just cuts straight to Goku suddenly running back up along Murasaki with the sandals, the wooden sandals. It's just odd. It's just such an odd episode. Yeah, I can't wait until Ninja. Also, kind of, he has the Mandark laugh from Dexter's Lab, where ha 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 ha.
Oh, he does. The rhythm is so weird with how, like, we've talked about Murasaki's like incredibly offensive accent, but the rhythm of how he speaks is very weird, along with his like laugh. It's I don't know what they're doing there.
I just realized, I wonder if they're going for like an old school dub effect. Like they're purposely trying to imitate like the old Godzilla dubs, where everyone would be like trying to fit in words in to get them around the lips because they're already moving too fast. Because it did have a bit of that about it. Like weirdly, I want to say John Chu, that's not the name. The guy who did all of the terrible Hong Kong film dubs into English. I can't remember his name. But that kind of sort of way of the ninja feel. But it doesn't work. But maybe that, but it doesn't work.
It was very Speed Racer in certain places.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But this episode. Also, I'm gonna say, I'm really sad how the aesthetic has changed. I do kind of think the idea of having this big forest in the tower is cool, but I'm sad we've lost the military base vibe because this feels like a Pilaf location. Because Pilaf had the ancient Chinese kind of look to him, has his little hat. This, if we're going to have the androids coming after this as well, this should be like a sterile This is a sterile military organization full of because Red's doing the Blofeld thing of in his big control rooms with his weird cat. Yeah. Why are we going to this sort of like classical Japanese? Why, if they'd have maybe justified it as being like, oh, this is how we bring food into this desolate wasteland or something, I could have brought it. But it just feels like we want to do a ninja episode. How are we going to justify it? Build a forest indoors.
Yeah, I think there's part of it that's like every floor is supposed to reflect their, challenger champion's personality. So with Ninja Murasaki, you're getting this like very beautiful Japan-esque landscape that shouldn't, this biodome on the middle of Muscle Tower that shouldn't really be there, but here we are.
Non-Euclidean muscle tower.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my review of this episode. Here we are. We're here.
We're here. We're just gonna make it work.
Also, just as a side thing, can I point out that I want to point out the Arabic dub changes the flag section where he has the flag and makes the joke better. In the Arabic dub, obviously, they don't want to show the American flag for various reasons. So they just pause it with him holding up the tree-covered side and have him sort of do his whole speech. And then Goku goes, "I can see your feet," which, again, is just a better joke than the whole, mother should have printed it double-sided. Like, one, why is your mother printing your ninja supplies? Two, what is your mother like Macho Man Randy Savage? Why is she printing American flags on things?
Yeah.
Does America? Oh my God, America exists. I just realized this. Oh no, we're at Pangaea again.
There's America in the Dragon Ball universe.
Also, based on the number of stars, I believe it is post Hawaii being made a state. So that adds even more confusion to this whole thing.
Man, so now we have to live with, okay, we're below Macedonia, but we know America exists.
Alexander the Great's knocking around. Oh dear.
Oh no, man!
Yes.
Could you imagine the U.S. government trying to like collect all 7 Dragon Balls before this hillbilly in an orange jumpsuit does?
God, it's gonna be like the Death Note side story.
Isn't that the Red Ribbon Army? One could argue.
I mean, they used to be sort of 70s military types, but now I did the Brady Bunch. Don't know, now they're just failed improv actors. That's what this feel like right now.
It's weird because they try to re-legitimize the threat of the Red Ribbon Army after Muscle Tower. But at that point, it's like, guys, what are we doing? And then they're just like, bring in outside mercenaries. Bring in outside mercenaries.
Bring in Tao. He's at least sensible.
Yeah, he can kill people with his shoe or his tongue. We can do that. We can do this. Oh, and let's have Goku fight the Universal monsters too. Cool.
I'm looking forward to that, just only because I like the Universal monsters and they at least look threatening. This episode is just like, we are just slowly whittling away all the goodwill we developed this arc.
Yeah.
I also want to know if all the sort of the speaker stuff's going on. Can everyone in the tower hear that? So is like the village chief just sitting there and Suno's father in their cell hearing this conversation go on like play by play? Like, boy has come to save me. Oh no, he's playing hide and seek with the ninja.
I like to think General White has better intercom discipline than the Funimation studio from last episode.
No, this episode, good news. There are no leaks in by the audio engineer, who is now my favorite Dragon Ball character.
The audio engineer is the most powerful Dragon Ball character. That is just canon. Oh my God.
It's just again, he keeps saying there's a guy sat in a tower like going, I'll probably be executed pretty soon. Hope a kid comes along to save me. Hope he doesn't get distracted playing games.
Hope we don't get distracted playing hide and seek with a ninja, which in any other context would be such a cute little idea.
Should bring up as well. Have fun with the continuity because the power pole just broke a sword. Guess what? Guess what he has next episode? A sword, totally intact. It's the same one. Also, I should bring up as well. We have a terrible cliffhanger again. Goku, because yes, of course. As a viewer, I'm going to buy into that a single boomerang to the head can kill Goku. Various machine guns, Master Roshi blasting him with it, and the most powerful martial arts in the world blasting him with energy's failed.
His face does like sell. Here's the thing: that moment isn't even like the end of a manga chapter. It's just like, oh, how are we going to tie up this episode? We've like filled the time. It's like, oh, use the big boomerang splash page from this chapter and just end it on that. And it's like, oh, okay.
It's so annoying because if they had to do like a cliffhanger, it would have been so much better to do it when the boomerang flew off.
Yeah.
So because then you could do the fact of like, oh, he's clearly planning something. And that would just be a much better, because this doesn't work. Because we all know Goku isn't dying to a single boomerang. and they haven't set up like what's the alternative? Like, a cliffhanger needs an alternative ending to work. Like, Suno isn't going to come in here and start beating people and taking names.
I
like,
wish.
Yamcha's not here, so he can't save the day. So, like, there's no stakes because you can clearly immediately tell this is going to be undone within 35 seconds of the next episode beginning.
Yeah.
At least they resolved this one, unlike the cliff. That's something.
Yeah. I will say, like, well, okay, what's your favorite bit of Murasaki, other than like not just the broad strokes, not just the Looney Tunes of it all, but like, is there a specific gag or moment where you're like, oh, you got me. I like that.
I like the hollow rock.
Mm.
Because of Goku saying it like he was talking to the rock. I thought that was a good gimmick, and I thought that would also that actually works for a ninja thing, and it also works for Goku as a character, in that Goku is weirdly perceptive while not being perceptive at all. So, like, of course, he won't care that he's cheating. He'll go, that rock's weirdly hollow. It's a very Goku moment, being like, he knows some things, and it sets up, hey, he could be ambushing you. Again, they immediately undercut this, but that's my favorite gag of the entire thing.
I think one thing I will admit I think was actually very funny was during the counting joke part where Murasaki's like, "How can you fight a ninja if you don't know how to count?" Like there's something very funny about Murasaki being like kind of concerned about this kid not knowing how to count.
Hmm. Yeah, he's just flabbergasted. He's flabbergasted and annoyed.
He's just like, but what do you mean? Like Murasaki's reactions to Goku, I think, are very funny. But how about you, Sam? You got a favorite?
No, no, it's probably him getting annihilated by the hot water. It's probably the most horrific thing that happened to him because, to hell with Murasaki.
To hell with him.
This is a man that's going to be joining the Time Patrol. If you want to know how low the bar to join the Time Patrol is.
Yeah, Xenoverse was running out of characters. We need somebody from the original Dragon Ball series. Who should we get? Well, I mean, there's like Nam and Aurelie and like, the Devil Man. It's like, no, let's do Ninja Murasaki. It's like
Ninja Murasaki.
He's a ninja. They like time travel.
Yeah, there's Bora. I guess Bora is already kind of in Dragon Ball Online and Xenoverse, but not as part of the Xeno Patrol.
But as we all know, since the bar for joining the Time Patrol is so low, we are going to encourage you all to sign up at your local chapter today to fight for the stability of the time stream. But until then, this has been the end of our episode. That's right, it is time for the sorrow of parting at the end of DBR on CBR. That's right, this has once again been Dragon Ball Rewatch, and we hope you continue to watch along with us on Hulu and Crunchyroll. We hope you continue to read along with us now in Volume 6 of the manga. Very excited, translated by Viz Media. And we have been your hosts. Once again, I am Ninja Alyx.
I'm Ninja Sam.
And I'm Ninja John.
And we'll see you next time on Dragon Ball.
Practice kettle safety.